Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of ActDefy's Connect series. We're your hosts, Ellie Wen, Varnica, and HC, and we're so excited to continue this series where we connect with different change makers and legislators around the United States. And today, we're honored to be joined by Indiana State Senator Kyle Walker, who is a leader known for his work on public safety, economic growth, and strengthening Indiana's communities. And we're so excited to dive into his journey and hear about his insights. So, Senator, thank you so much for joining us today. Would you like to quickly introduce yourself to our audience?
Oh, sure. It's my pleasure to join you. My name's Kyle Walker. I'm the state senator for Senate District 31, which is the northeast portion of Marion County, all of Fishers, Indiana, and the little stretch of Noblesville also.
Amazing. So we'll move on to our first question for you. So, what first motivated you to run for this seat, and how did your prior careers or life experiences kind of prepare you for these duties?
Sure. So early in my career, I spent a lot of time, about 10 years in different roles in local government. And so had a wide variety of jobs in local government that, including Department of Public Works in Indianapolis, worked for voters registration in Marion County. I was a deputy assessor for 7 years. So had a lot of local government experience. Also served on the Lawrence City Council for 4 years in the early 2000s. And so I think I came to this like a lot of folks do, with a desire to serve and a belief that if you focus on the right things, you can really make a positive difference. And so when this opportunity arose, I was excited to throw my hat in the ring. And so I first started in the legislature in 2020. My first session was in 2021, and then ran for reelection in 22. And so we go into a new session at the beginning of this year or next year, excuse me.
Thank you for that response. Our next question is, what does a day-to-day as a senator look like?
So, we're a part-time legislature. And so the day to day really depends on what time of year. So we have a session usually in the first quarter of the year. And so during session, we are usually at the State House Monday through Thursday at least, and we'd go into actual session on the floor 3 of those days. Wednesdays we always have committees, and we typically have committee meetings also on other days of that week. And then when we're not in official meetings, we spend a lot of time. I personally spend a lot of time doing meetings with constituents and stakeholders on key bills that I'm working on. And then outside of session, we spend a lot of time working with folks in the community, trying to be active, work with I have two, sort of large municipalities that I represent, and there's always a lot going on, and so try to stay active and try to stay informed as to what folks are doing and what they need from their legislators.
Thank you for that response. Our next question is, what advice would you give to high schoolers like us who want to influence legislation but feel like they have limited platforms to do so?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, and I've worked actually closely with youth on a few different bills, um, middle school and high school, and who came down and they actually brought me an idea a few years back to allow for foster youth to get free access to state parks, and so I worked with them and they came down and testified on the bills, testified both in multiple committees, and then also did some press on that. And so I worked closely with them so that they could get that full experience on the drafting of a bill and what that process looks like to get it all the way into law. And so that was fun for I think all of us. But what I would tell anyone in your shoes, find something that you're passionate about, something that you really are interested about, that you can go in and dig in, learn about the subject matter, learn about whatever ideas you have for change, what those impacts might be, And then, reach out to your legislators that are particularly local legislators or those that might work in that space and start that dialogue. And I think you'll find that many folks, many legislators or local government officials have an open ear when it comes to ideas and certainly would embrace younger folks being involved in the process because it's really, really important that you get involved in the process, and the earlier you do that, the better.
What personal leadership principles do you rely on the most when it comes to making difficult policy decisions?
Yeah, it's really two things. You have to, I think, always do what you think is right, and I think you need to listen to your constituents and reconcile those two things the best you possibly can. And we deal with some controversial subjects at the legislature, and again, if you can merge those two, first start with always doing what you think is right, the right thing to do, but also take in as much input as you can from the people you represent so that you're a good representative of them. To me, that's the best way to be in any kind of legislature or elected official, listening and doing what's right.
hmm So, looking ahead, what is one goal you have for Indiana that you believe that today's youth will impact the most?
Yeah, I think so. One goal, I think you can be a huge part of maintaining our stature in the economic development space, right? We need our kids that are particularly in high school and middle school, really at each generation, we need them to, if they don't decide to go to college here or learn a trade here, we need them to come back here, right? And invest in our economy here in the state, make our state better. The state is, I think, it has a tremendous amount to offer, but other states can be a draw too. And so, to continue the progress in Indiana, we need to make sure that we have young folks that want to stay here, invest their time and talent here. And so, I would hope all three of you do that.
Yeah, so just, to wrap up, so what are some policy bills or legislation you're extremely passionate about, or is there a specific bill that you've worked on that you're especially proud of?
So I do a lot of work in the tax and fiscal space, and those bills are not particularly exciting to talk about, but they have a lot of, they're far-reaching in their impact. Economic development also. So I was the author of the sports and marketing.
I'm so sorry. Did did you cut? You seem to be cut off on our end.
Are you sure you did?
Can you hear me now?
Oh,
Is it-
all good now. All good now. Yeah,
Yeah.
you cut off in the middle of your sentence. You like froze, and now you're good.
Okay.
Okay.
Where did I stop?
You stopped. How about you just do you want to just re-ask the question? We did re-ask the question real quick,
I can just I can
or just
answer.
continue? Yeah, just
Yeah,
continue.
so I work on a lot of tax and fiscal issues. I'm on that committee in the Senate. Those get to be pretty complicated, a little wonky, not really exciting, but they're really important. They have far-reaching impacts. I also, try to focus on economic development in the state. I had a sports and marketing bid fund that passed a few years back, which is incredibly important for us to maintain competitiveness in the sports and tourism area, which is something that we've really long excelled at in Indiana. But it becomes increasingly difficult to maintain competitiveness in that. And then, I'm also really passionate about work in the foster youth space, particularly older foster youth. I've carried several pieces of legislation that have passed that really help them, whether that's access to car insurance, working on a bill of rights for them for next session, and access to banking. So, those types of things are really meaningful and important to me. And public safety is kind of probably the fourth thing that I've done a lot of work in. We just have to continually look at ways to make sure that we live in an environment that supports our police officers, make sure that our public's safe, make sure that our laws are brought up to speed, each and every year, so that we have the kind of public safety we all expect.
Okay, thank you so much for that. We have one final question just to wrap stuff up. So basically, in the future, we're planning on starting some sort of gala event at the Carmel Library where we bring in different legislators or influential figures and kind of have like a Q&A session and speeches, and there'll be an audience of high school students or whoever is interested in hearing. Would you think this would be a good idea or something possibly that you might be interested in participating in the future?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think anytime that you can get interested high schoolers to come and listen to a bunch of politicians speak, that's probably that's probably great. But I would enjoy doing that. I mean, I can't tell you how much I'm impressed with what you guys have done. And I think it's important to show that you can have an impact and you can have access and that you can have influence over, how our state is governed.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your time. And,
Welcome.
you're just also contributing to our cause and just helping thousands of kids around the world learn more about what policymaking is and legislation.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm
Mm.
happy to do it. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you so much.
All
Have a
right.
great day.
You too. Bye bye.